Welcome back to another episode of the Unique Hospitality Podcast. And I have to say, I think out of all the episodes I've recorded on this podcast, this might be the one I'm most excited for, the one that I think will be the most fun. I've been kind of waiting for my opportunity to ask Nick to let me do this one because it's a little bit outside of glamping, but I think we can do a nice spin and basically say it's glamping on wheels. In this episode, I'm joined by Alan Mondus and Evan Purcell, two good friends of mine and also business partners. They're the founders. There's 6 founders behind Sandy Vans, and I wanted a chance to get the Sandy Vans story. It's been quite a exciting and meteoric journey since the company was started 4 or so years ago, and I thought there'd be a lot of good business learnings for any type of entrepreneur and broadly in the outdoor space, in the outdoor adventure space. And so, Alan and Evan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us on, Connor.
Yeah, excited to be here. Thanks for finally making this happen. We've, heard about the podcast. Know you've been working on this for a while now, and excited to finally be here with you and get to talk about Sandy Vans.
All right. Well, I wanted to start with something fun, and that is, you guys, all of your vans have names, and they're usually related to action heroes or movie stars. Can you tell us maybe what's some of your personal favorites that you've come up with, or any favorites that some of your customers have come up with?
Yeah, I think that whole thing started with you, Connor, actually, why we did the names, because you came with me to look at my very first van that I bought. It was a 1990 Ford E350. It was an old school, beat up, rundown van. And you looked at it, and what did you say, Connor?
Oh my God, what is his name? Why can't I think of it? I actually wasn't trying to tee myself up as the person who thought of this. I forgot.
I know, but this is what kicked off the whole thing, and we'll actually answer the question.
Vanzell, Washington.
Yeah, Vanzell, Washington. You looked at it, you're like, this just gives me Vanzell, Washington vibes. It just feels like or Denzel, Washington. And then look back, he was like Vanzell, Washington. And that name stuck with that van, and then carried over into Sandy Vans, that we just had to come up with punny names for all the vans. It's been great.
Yeah, and the customers have loved it. It's always been something that's caught attention, whether it's been on a listing or on our website. And then one of the favorite ones we did was Hugh Jack Van. And it had a Wolverine type theme. It was when we were also developing new lighting features. And this one had like 3 lights, LEDs that were going at kind of like this zigzag and looked like a, Wolverine mark on a ceiling. So yeah, it's been fun to incorporate different design elements, with the names, or get customers involved in naming their own van and having a little fun with, what really is an exciting, adventurous toy to get out there and, experience the outdoors and have a fun name to drive around and call it.
I think my favorite was Vangelina Jolie.
Yes.
And this is one of the first vans that we had built. And to all the trade shows we'd go to, we had this little placard with a Tomb Raider photo of Angelina Jolie. Vangelina Jolie that went with the van was attached to it, and it got just so many chuckles and great reactions from all of our customers. And we haven't leaned into them quite as hard as we did at the beginning, but that was my favorite.
Yeah, actually at first we had bobbleheads too.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about those.
Jackie Van and little bobbleheads.
We included with the purchase of every van. So
we'll have to bring that back.
The dash.
Yeah,
we definitely got to bring that back.
I forgot about the bobbleheads. Oh man, yeah, Vangelina Jolie. That was the first Joe van. That was a good looking van. It was well named.
Yeah.
She was a beaut.
Still on our homepage.
Yeah.
Saw it there today. Yeah.
And I think I heard of one that you guys had a customer name called Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I thought, as a Star Wars nerd, I thought that one was pretty good. And the lighting with the Star Wars themed and the lightsabers in the van was pretty sick.
That was such a fun project, and like Alan said, it's really cool when we get the opportunity to attach a name to a van and then carry that theme throughout the design in it. And so this customer loves Star Wars, and so we got to build him a lightsaber entryway that had a motion detector. So when you opened the slider door, it detected that door was opening, and in your entry step there was a blue lightsaber that would then light up, and you'd have the beam extend through it. And then we should have done the sound effects.
Yeah.
So this was a missed opportunity there. And then we had these galaxy panels for the ceiling lighting, which was really, really cool. It was a challenging one to figure out how to make it all work, but it came out so well. It was a really cool, one of my favorite vans we've done.
Yeah.
Oh, love that. All right. Well, maybe you guys could just give us a quick overview of like, where is Sandy Vans at today as a business?
Well, here it is right here in Miramar. We're down in San Diego. We're at our headquarters, a really exciting space, 12,000 square feet in Miramar, and Sandy Vans out of San Diego. You're not having the right adventure unless you got a little bit of sand in that van. So that's where the name comes from the location and use case. Yeah, we've been in this facility now for almost 2 years, 18 months or so. Before that, down in Chula Vista. And before that, Evans Driveway. Actually, you guys both lived in that house on Galveston back in the day. So, yeah, obviously have, made a journey through locations. And now we're at 22 full-time employees, plus a number of contractors. So over 30 individuals working on this business day in and day out, and building 3 vans per month, as well as a full suite of products. So there's a few different divisions within the company now, and each division, growing with regards to revenue and just responsibilities over the products and the personnel. So yeah, on track to do $5 million in revenue this year, and this will be the 4th year of operation.
Amazing. What does one of these vans go for? Like, what's the price range?
We started about $129, and then that ranges up to, on our 144, which is the small wheelbase, to about $200 fully optioned out. And then recently this year, we had a really exciting project called the Concrete Oasis, which is actually a collaboration we did with Ed and Nicole, who run Ananda Living Experiences, and they do high-end boutique designs, and they've done that in a couple different vans. And we were able to take the one that they had done, the Concrete Oasis, that had gone viral on the internet, and actually turn that into a limited series. And so now we're producing a limited run of those. And so that's getting up to the upper end on our price point, and that one starts at $300.
Yeah, and that's such an exciting opportunity. And if you go on the website or the Instagram, you can see some amazing, photos and videos of the Concrete Oasis. It's probably, in the top 1% of luxury and quality craftsmanship builds that exist, in the U.S. of custom sprinter van builds. So it's top tier. Super exciting for both Eden Nicole and Sandy Vans, that partnership. And maybe we'll dive into that a little bit more later. But maybe we could back up a little bit and just, you could tell, maybe Alan, we'll start with you and just give us a little bit of your background, how you got into Sandy Vans.
Yeah, that's a journey. It basically, entrepreneurship and starting your own company. I was involved in a products company in 2017, launched on Kickstarter. It was a coaster company, actually, of all things, called the Barnacle Coaster, and it was something like an idea that a friend had, and we decided to develop this product and launch it on Kickstarter. It had great success. The Barnacle Coaster, it basically stops those condensation rings, those pesky condensation rings on your coffee table, from your iced coffees, and yeah, had some success with that, and I really enjoyed the process and launching a product and starting a brand. And that was on the side of the day job, which had always been in different sales and marketing roles, and was working in the medical device manufacturing world for many years. And during COVID, the company I was working for got acquired and kind of left me at a crossroads of what's next. So got in a van of my own, actually, and a built out 2013 Sprinter. We called it Van Diesel. They all have a name. And so I was on a trip up to Oregon, and hey, ran into this guy. Obviously, all of us are friends through many different paths, but a core, I think, to the friend group activity-wise is kiteboarding, kite surfing. And so we were up in Hood River, the Columbia Gorge, and cruising around there and doing, as much kite surfing as we could that summer, 4 summers ago, actually, right now, I think.
Man, was it?
And yeah, Evan had built out that van that we already talked about, Van Zell. And so he was out of that van. And so we Yeah, we were van camping, adventuring, and kite surfing, and on that trip, starting to see during COVID the opportunity that there was in the Class B van space, how accessible it made, the van made getting to all the activities that I love to do, that we love to do, surfing and kiting and biking and anything, being closer to where your adventure, and then having a home base right when you're done with your adventure to wash your gear off and make some food and have a beer with friends and talk about the amazing session on the water. It was like that moment that really opened the door to me, to my eyes, to like what the vans are capable of, and looking more at the space. Honestly, Evan, being a product engineer, and we'll get to his story, kind of came up with some ideas about products on that trip. And it was kind of like that energy of the trip is like, let's do it right now, and Evan's like, oh, we could build that. And so we had this idea for a storage box on the back of the vans that no one was really doing at the time. And so all the kite surfing gear, instead of throwing it in the van or on top of the van, it's like, oh, we need a place to put this on the rear side of the van. And so went to, one of Evan's friends' shops and manufacturing facilities in Idaho, and made a prototype. And on the rest of that trip throughout the Pacific Northwest, there were a lot of people going, hey, where did you get that? And that was the moment that I think spun into, the idea of Sandy vans.
There's something here.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. How about you, Ev?
So like Alan said, my background's in product design, manufacturing, engineering. And so I actually I've done a couple different business ventures and startups in the past. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but I moved up to Colorado. I left my oil and gas job, moved up to Colorado to start doing engineering and product design. I had all of my possessions in my truck, and then met you guys the first night I got in Colorado.
Beers in Colorado.
And then
Breckenridge, yeah.
Then we started our first business that night. Our very first business together that night. So we all had, I'd been driving for a while, came in strong. We all drank probably more than we should have.
Well, yeah, you wanted to test every margarita. Or no, martini.
Martini,
The difference between every martini, because one of the members of the crew didn't know the difference.
I didn't know the difference. It was an educational experiment, which led us to our first business venture, which at dinner that night, I think we realized your girlfriend at the time, Connor, was big in the crypto space. And so she was talking about all these NFTs and cryptos. I'm like, hey, I don't know what any of that is, but we could buy the domains and sell the website domains.
Right.
And so we punched all of them in, and we got on GoDaddy. We started buying web domains for crypto dragons and all sorts of
crypto Google.
Yeah. And I remember passing the phone around, guys, we got to make sure this is all spelled right. And everybody at the table checked it. Yep, that's right. Okay, perfect. Purchase.
And then we martinis.
Forgot about it for the rest of the trip. Had an amazing ski trip together, and that's the start of a fantastic friendship with the two of you gentlemen. And then I remember at the end of the trip, we're driving down to the airport, and we remembered that we had purchased these domains. We needed to check, and we hop on, and we see one of our domains that we had purchased 3 nights before for $12 is now selling for $10,000. It's like, guys, we did it. Yeah, we just paid for the ski trip. And, I don't know. I didn't list it. Did you list it? How did we get this listed for $10,000? And then we went into our account and realized we had misspelled every single domain that we had purchased. We had not spelled one of them correctly, and we had misspelled them all in different ways.
That's right. Yeah, the martinis worked. They won that night.
Yes, definitely. So anyways, that was kind of the start of my my career.
Entrepreneurial career.
In entrepreneurship, product design. I ended up going doing product design consulting for individuals, and that led me up to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where I did hypersonics engineering, was employee number 1 for a small business up there, sending things up into space and using hypersonics to break rock. While doing that, I saw Alan over here launch this Kickstarter that he had mentioned earlier. I was like, hey, I think I could do that. I know how to design products. I don't know anything about sales or business, but I know products. And so I ended up kicking off a business called Nobo Pets, had designed a leash, got a few different patents on it, called up Alan, said, hey, how do I do this Kickstarter thing? Got that kicked off and ended up doing well on Kickstarter. And then realized I had to go fulfill it and actually do a little bit more than just design the product. So I called you up, Connor, and said, hey, how do we do sales. And we got involved in that, and we were doing great. It was rocking and rolling until the injection molding company that we had spent $20,000 on an injection mold with ended up getting bought out. And so we ended up going through a lot of issues with being able to get our product produced. So we ran out of product to sell. And in that limbo period is when decided to go on this van trip, linked up with Alan, and had a business with no products, but still the entrepreneur appetite. And so that's when the idea for Sandy Vans came about. And getting back from that trip, it was full court press on Sandy Vans. And Nobo still exists and floats around, but no real effort going into that.
No time.
Yeah, no time. Yeah. It is. Sandy Time is a full-time job and a half.
I didn't know that you talked to Alan about the Kickstarter. I missed that connection. Oh, that's too funny. So what would you guys say? I think it's interesting when you listen to some other entrepreneurial podcasts, like How I Built This, like you see that a lot of folks who, hit it big on a company, they've usually had a couple swings at bats that they've done before. You guys both did, Barnacle Coasters and Nobo Pets. You had some and Crypto Dragons, and a couple other swings at small business and entrepreneurship. I guess what lessons did you take forward from those that you applied to Sandy Vans, or maybe helped you with that? Maybe there's two. One would be like, what informed your opportunity selection, where it's like, oh, the Sandy Vans is a good idea. This is a good business venture, and then maybe from like a executing standpoint.
Yeah. From my perspective, it was, Barnacle was like you say, a great first swing, and it was a product, right? It wasn't really a business. So there's a great learning opportunity where, I think everyone in America, you're kind of brought up with that idea where you can, that's $1 million product right there. Right. And that's kind of like that's that mindset is just, and that opportunity does exist. Right. But it's more than that. If you're trying to make one product and then sell it to a company that already has the established, like Evan said, all the other things in business, the supply chain, the sales, the customer feedback, the packaging and shipping, and all those other hurdles that it takes to have a successful company. And so, we were looking to start a brand from a product and from a coaster of all products, which was a tall task. And then also there was two other business partners I had in that journey, and but Barnacle still exists, and you can buy them on the web, online right now today. But what happened was, in trying to go down that journey, entrepreneurship is a very difficult path. It's a very difficult thing to decide that you want to do, and you have to be willing to climb every mountain and really keep charging and have persistency in this journey, and it really takes a core team. And that's what I found out about, that was a side project that working for fun with, others. And so, and everyone had their own jobs and their own careers and their own lives. And our lives took us to different locations. We were all in San Diego, and one ended up, we're moving to Houston to also, work on things that were going into space. He worked for NASA, and then the other one moved to Orange County and had a family. And so that core team, started to move to different locations. And so what I found when I was going into Sandy Vans and going into the next entrepreneurship type of journey was, all right, a team is so important to bring different skill sets to the table and really, work with people that you trust and know are going to have your back. And I think, I think partnerships get a really bad rap in the business community because it's tough to be on the same page for a long time in business. So sooner or later, you're going to have different conflicts and you're going to have different things come up. But if you have a core team that truly has friendship and trust and the same type of vision in mind, it's going to go further quicker. In my mind. And so that's what I learned in that short stint, or that kind of side hustle project from Barnacle, and really going into Sandy Vans with that open mind of coming together with a really awesome team, the leadership team, to make something happen quick.
Yeah. I think there's so many learnings from every step that you take. And first thing was Crypto Dragon, spell things correctly. The real lesson that I think I took, the biggest one from Nobo Pets, was there's so many different risks that you take on when you start a business. And so coming into Sandy Vans, there was a couple risks that I didn't want to take. One of which being having a supplier risk. And so with that business, we had one supplier that controlled everything. And if they got bought out, disappeared, all of a sudden we couldn't get our product and now had to shift things. And it caused so many issues within the business that caused this little loss of momentum. And then, loss of momentum in myself as well to steer into another business venture. So that's been a big one in Sandy Vans, is there is no vendor risk that we have within the business. Every single product we have, there are multiple vendors that we can get that from. Every time we send something out for quote, it's going out to multiple people. And anything that we can't control or trust a single vendor to be able to handle for us, we bring that in-house and we control it ourselves. So I think that was probably my biggest learning and takeaway, is you're the owner of your own destiny. And so you need to figure out which ones are most important for you to control.
I love it. Was there like a why behind creating Sandy Vans?
Came from passion, honestly. We both were out on van trips in our own vans because it was a conduit or tool to be able to allow us to go do the things that brought us the most joy. In that particular trip, we were out kite surfing and just chasing the wind. And there really isn't a better way to be able to do that than having a van where you have all of your gear with you and you can just in an instant up and move and chase whatever it is, the swell conditions, the wind conditions, and having that access to be able to go do these hobbies and adventures, go down to Baja and chase surf. I mean, and be in the middle of nowhere. There are no hotels out in some of those spots. There's no Airbnbs. And just having, being able to have that access is incredible. So I know for me, it was something that I was passionate about, and something that could really connect with all of our customer base on.
Yeah, I think, as you get older and you're just looking for more of the whys in life. And I think community is so important. This was a time in life where there was a break for myself when it came to work. And it was nice to have that, and nice to have flexible and freedom to spend some time in a van and being out in nature and being with, incredible friends and community and doing the things I love to do. And so I think this vehicle literally, allows you to get out and feel more alive. So that's kind of the essence of what Sandy Vans is trying to capture is that feeling of being alive, whether it's, being with your community on a unique kayaking trip in the middle of nowhere or down surfing through Baja, which we had an amazing experience when we kicked this company off. We brought 18 people down through Baja with the first couple of vans we built and chased wind waves and awesome swell and just had bonfires on desolate cliffs in the middle of nowhere and had a really unique experience and that's what these vehicles, Sandy Vans, is able to provide. And
I've actually got a great photo right behind here in the lobby of that first trip. It's a sunset van and a surfboard in hand.
Yeah.
Oh man, maybe at the end of the episode, we'll have you guys give us a little tour of the Dream Factory that you're sitting in right now. If you're watching it on video, you can see. Otherwise, you can go see some stuff on their website. Yeah, maybe you could walk us through the how did you raise money for this business, and maybe through your first two vans, Jackie Van and Morgan Free Van, and the first 6 months of being a business. That's probably always the most exciting part. What was that like?
Yeah, I think kind of going back to the first question of some of the learnings we had from previous business ventures, that was another one. I talked about risk. Was figuring out what I was willing to risk and what risks I didn't want to take. And coming into this one, I didn't want to risk my own personal capital on this business venture. So once Alan and I decided that this is something we were going to pursue, we went to build the right team, like Alan had mentioned, and then also to find the cash that we needed to be able to get the business kicked off. And so we went to our closest friends is where we started, going to friends and family. We raised $140,000 which, in today's dollars of how much the business spends is nothing. Goodbye in a week. But that's what we needed to get kicked off. And we set out, we had a pitch deck together, pitched our friends, said, hey, we need to raise $140,000 to build 2 vans and prove that there is an opportunity here, and then build these couple products.
Yeah, we came back just full of energy, right? That trip was just ignited the passion, the interest for the space, and just excitement. We just thought, okay, this is it. We just had this amazing trip, so we're coming off of this high. We built this prototype, out of a shop, and then we're on a kite trip and got asked, hey, where did you get this? And that moment was like, okay, there's energy, there's people that want these products. There's not that much in the space right now. And so we came back, on the way back, making a pitch deck, and had kind of an A, B, C tiered list of individuals who we've come across who were entrepreneur minded, or investors, or individuals just high net worth individuals that we've come across in our own personal journey. But first we're like, okay, let's go to our circle. We have this really tight knit kiteboarding community that are good friends, and like, hey, so we had a pitch in my kitchen or living room, and on my own screen, TV, flat screen, and got it set up and brought 5 friends in, and luckily enough, we were able to raise it within our community within that first pitch, and that gave us more motivation and energy that we're on going the right way, excitement that we're on the right path. And so from there we kind of had it mapped out where there was 18 months, like this is where we were going to budget that 140 grand, and we had a lot of different business paths, 3 different prongs of the business. Connor, Sandy Van's Experiences was involved in the original pitch. There was the van builds themselves, and then there were products, which is actually what the core of the company was going to be based on. And as we got into it, those first 6 months, we learned so much, of course, and how, financing, and we didn't even think about being a dealer and how you're going to resell these vans or own these vans, and the insurance, and where do you park? There's just so much you start to uncover when you don't know what you don't know. But that also, ignorance is bliss, because that helped. If you knew all the red tape and all the headaches that were going to come, there's a lot more hesitation, and we just went guns blazing full on into the battle. Just saying, hey, we got optimistic mindset and some energy moving us forward. So it took us clean into that first marketing trip, the first 2 building those 2 vans out of your driveway in 6 weeks, and not knowing what we're doing, also designing products, just working 20 hours a day and just living and breathing Sandy Vans, and every, new logo design, and trying to come up with, website, creating at night when the sun's down while we're not building the vans. It was full on excitement. And so was the first marketing trip. And then our first van sale happening right away when we listed the van for sale. It just, once again, gave us another win and allowed that momentum to really carry forth, to help get us to where we are today.
Yeah, and I could maybe elaborate on that and chime in. And when Evan and Alan came to sat us down in Alan's living room for the pitch, it was a group of friends and a lot of really talented people with different skill sets, and a lot of people who've been successful in their previous ventures, and was really a dynamite team. And I remember when I was listening to the pitch, I was like, all right, well, first and foremost, I believe in Alan and Evan and the team they've assembled, and their skill set and their just track record of success, that they're going to get the job done. And then the second piece was, I really believed in the product and the problem that it was solving. I work a lot in the RV space as well, and I really think that these Sprinter vans, I don't think that they're just a fad. I think that they're solving a very real problem for changing customer preferences. I think the days of, wanting a 35-foot RV that's a bus that, our grandparents drove around that you could fit, 6 kids in, I don't really think that's really the direction the industry's headed. And I think you have people that, live in suburbia or that live in urban places, and they want something that's smaller, that's minimalism, that's sleek, that's sexy, that allows them outdoor adventure, can get them to off the grid, hard to reach spaces, vehicles that are all-wheel drive and have lifted suspension, so they can get to really remote and outstanding places. while still being able to drive into a city and go get lunch with their friends and be able to park their vehicle. And then the last thing is, it's an industry that I really believe in, that I think is going to continue to grow, and that's just outdoor adventure. And I think that's never going to stop growing. So, that was a really big reason why I believed in these guys and put a little bit of that startup capital in. And I was also working with them part-time for the first 6 months. And then ultimately had to make one of the toughest decisions of my life to choose whether to continue working with Sage and do the glamping thing that I've been working on for 3 years, or continue to work with the Sandy Vans guys, and ultimately made the very tough choice to go with Sage. And I think it broke my heart, but alas, here we are. And moving on from that,
we're always here, Connor. You can come back.
Oh,
we got a desk for you upstairs. The mega desk still exists. So.
Wait, is it the same mega desk?
It's the exact same desk.
Same desk.
Oh man! All right, so maybe get a little more color on the first 6 months. So they buy their first 2 vans. First of all, what does a new Mercedes Sprinter van cost?
50,000.
Yeah, 55. I think at the time.
Yeah.
For rear wheel drive, we were getting. We haven't done a rear wheel drive in a minute.
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah, and then basically you guys were in the driveway of Evan and I's house. I remember looking out the window, and you guys are cutting holes in the van and starting to build the first prototypes. And as soon as it's finished, what do we do? But it's what's the first thing we're going to do? We're going to do on a 1,000-mile road trip down through Baja with our brand new shiny product. Walk us through that decision.
Well, it was in the original pitch deck. I mean, it had to be done. It was part of, so the marketing expense was a big chunk of that, not a big chunk, but a reasonable chunk of that 140,000. And luckily enough, we were able to kind of work with some, partners within the industry that were family friends to help get the funding sorted out straight away from the first 2 vans. So we weren't putting those huge chunks down for the vans. So that helped a lot. And then we led with marketing in mind, because this is like everything you just mentioned, Connor. It's one of those opportunities to get you into unique places, and they photo so well, the video that's captivating, and that marketing is what really drove us to have this brand kick off as fast as it did. And this marketing trip, whether it was basically, work nonstop around the clock to build these first 2 vans, and then go for 6 weeks down through Baja and hire a film crew through the kiteboarding community that we knew, and build that first brand video and get the content that we need to launch the website and social media and everything to really kick off the visuals behind what Sandy Vans was going to stand for. So it was nerve-wracking and definitely a push to even make it happen, and all these things coming together to have the right crew to join us. So to get 18 people together, even at any point in life, to head down to Baja was, really grateful for that time and that journey, and for those individuals who jumped on board to come help make something really cool. And that brand video is on our YouTube, and it's really one of those things we're definitely proud of to this day.
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes into the everyone bringing their own element to the team, you having a background in sales and marketing. And one of the big things you were really emphasizing at the beginning is hey, we need to be brand first and build a brand. And it takes content. It takes something that can be emotive to people. So we started out with that trip to be able to have the right foundation to build that brand on. And it shows today. I mean, we continued with that same mentality over the last 4 years, but it is cool to see so many people out in Sandy Van swag. What's rule number 1? Brand your friends. But I hear it all the time. I get texts from friends all the time, man, I was wearing my Sandy Vans hat, and a complete stranger came up and said, oh, Sandy Vans, I love those guys. I've seen their YouTube videos or whatever it is. And just hearing that so frequently, because we've gone to such emphasis to be able to have this brand. And then that filters down into the community through our owners that we bought, as we set out to build this brand that shows the action adventure, the types of things that you can go out and do with these vans, and then bringing our owner group and customers into that community to be able to go out and do that and share that together. And we have a Facebook group where they're all posting and sharing their photos. And it just starts with that little catalyst on the brand. And now it all lives through every one of our customers on the road.
Yeah, we recently had a customer that's a couple with 4 kids, and there's the 6 of them out, and they hit every state this summer. And they
Whoa.
started from here and just went throughout the entirety of the United States. And they got the pop top and they got the full cap. It's just such a cool, and they've posted about every day. And so it's been so fun to just like see these, these stories, these customer journeys. And there's an insider, Facebook community that they're all part of. And so they're sharing the stories and really starting to, just kind of build that community across, the country with now 70 plus vans out there.
I didn't know that. That is so cool. That should be its own Sandy Vans TV episode.
Right?
Definitely. Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, right. So, it's so funny heading down to Baja, in the first 2 months, and one to kind of product test it and get a feel for your own products. You see what could be improved. Also to be brand first, get this content. Also to, feel alive and go, really sink into the reason that we started the company was to get people out there. And yeah, we hired through, kiting in Hood River, a really talented group of videographers who came with us, and we let them borrow a van for free, and they basically did a super high quality episode with the van, and it was a really, really strong start. And you guys have always constantly been brand forward, and maybe we'll get into kind of Sandy Vans TV stuff in a little bit, but
yeah, definitely shout out to Jackson Lebsack and the Sickos. They've absolutely blown up since then. That was the starting point for the Sickos, and now they have a YouTube channel with, I think it's over 500,000, subscribers, and just adventure forward type of really, fun, active, doing wild things all the time, and kite surfers, and that's where we connected with them in Hood River in the Gorge. But yeah, Jackson had done work with Jamie O'Brien out in surfing in Hawaii and on the islands for many years, and so it was really cool to have his talent, within our trip to kick off our brand was just like a jump start in the right direction.
And the way, we'd met them briefly in Hood River kiting, but basically we reached out and said, hey, we know you guys want to create fun new episodes for the Sickos channel. Like, what if we give you a van and you shoot great content, and we basically are giving you an episode of content in a van to use, and you trade us content, and it worked out great. And yeah, I mean, there's stuff now. So actually Jackson did the brand video on Sage Outdoor Advisory's website, which was a project that I kind of spearheaded.
Nice.
Yeah. It's super cool. And there's some Sandy Vans shots in there, actually. So a little nugget, if anyone goes to the Sage website, there's a Sandy Vans clip in there that I had Jackson put in. But
I love it.
He's probably one of the most he's one of the most prolific content creators that I've seen. Like, his stuff is unbelievable. So we really got in there early. So good work on that, guys.
Yeah.
What's tell me about naming Sandy Vans, because one of the moments that we had when we were sitting down at a table and trying to decide to start, we decided to start the company. I think we signed the agreement, raised the money, and we're like, all right, what are we going to name this? And I think our first 50 names were taken. There was already websites and there was already van companies. So like 3 hours in to brainstorming names, we're like, oh wow, we're going to have a lot of competition in this space.
I think we didn't realize how many players were in the space until we went down the name search. And it's a business that has a really low barrier to entry, because it could be some buffoons in their driveway kicking things off like we did. and that's how we started. And so it just takes, a couple power tools in a driveway to start a business, and it takes a hell of a lot more to build a brand and a company. As far as the name, we had quite the list, and so many were taken in the space. And I'll let Alan take it away, because he was the biggest advocate for Sandy Vans.
Well, yeah. See, I might remember it differently, I guess. So, because I thought the name was always Sandy Vans, but I believe there was a what is it? Everyone's coming to pitchforks. There was a bit of a turning of the tides, and I realized I was outnumbered at one point, and there was a long list, and I was like, whoa, we already have the name, guys. So I think there was some pushback, we'll just say, but I do remember the moment. It was actually when we were driving back into the gorge from Sandpoint, Idaho. We just built the first ever boost box, and we were once again just like on cloud nine, feeling like good energy, like this is the right path, and this awesome product that we just kind of like whipped out in a weekend, and then we were like brainstorming different names, and And I was just looked at it, and it was like the sun was setting. I was like, wait, in San Diego? Like, what about Sandy vans? And I was like, oh, I don't like that. And so I remember like from that moment, I was like, oh no, it's Sandy vans. And then there were a lot of other, Stoked and West Coast and Ocean and Surf. And like, there was a lot of different things, like variants kind of like thrown out over the next, couple weeks, month, as we, put the business plan in place. But what was on that original pitch deck was definitely Sandy vans. Now there were a lot of different logos, and I know we went every different direction, and we had a lot of different voting I remember on the logo. But in my eyes, it was always Sandy vans.
So Sandy vans was your first choice?
Oh, it was always Alan's first choice.
That's so funny. I always, the way I remember it is like it was our 50th choice.
No, it was Alan's. And I mean, I liked it. For me, it was always like, this is good unless something better comes along. I was kind of like waiting to see if we came up with something else.
There was one that was kind of like Flow or something, or Rhythm.
Oh, Rory was all about that.
Yeah, Flow vans or something. Yeah, I mean, there were some other ones I remember it came up, and Rory really didn't like Sandy vans.
Yeah, he hated it.
And he was going to be an investor, and he didn't end up investing.
Because he didn't like the name.
But you know what, Rory, he should have got behind it. So.
I still love you, Rory. Still love you.
That's so funny because, I always like, oh, Sandy vans, you got sand in your van. Like, but I think that is just a testament to the brand, because a brand, regardless of the name, it makes you love the name. And like now I see even just like the sign in the background that you guys have in the shop right now. It's like, oh, that sunset logo has just come to be, I don't know, obviously iconic in my own mind, but it's really start to become something pretty special. So I think what you guys have done in the last, is it just 3.5 years? I have that right? Well, almost 4.
Yeah, it was November 21. So we'll be 4 years in November.
Holy smokes. So talk to me a little bit about the product.
Yeah, so the original pitch was mainly around DIY kits, and it's still at that time, midst of COVID. Now it had blown up, of course, like, people were building vans in their driveways always, but and it was growing more and more popular in the 2015, 16, 17, 18. But COVID happened, and everyone was building, vans in their driveway, and having this problem. So we're like, okay, this is perfect. Let's build our first 2 vans, design the kits from it, and then that'll be the main product. So that was like revenue generator number 1. That was the primary goal of the business from the get-go, and that pivoted quickly, right?
So that was something that we sold.
We sold one in exchange for our domain name.
Oh, that's for the
words. So to build these first vans, the initial concept with building those vans was we needed to design all the kits and design all the components and CAD everything.
Actually build the van.
We had to build a van and figure out all the pieces that would go into being able to do these flat pack kits. Amidst doing that, we ended up, somebody owned the domain, sandyvans.com.
Yeah.
Just so
in Southern California, Orange County.
I'll chime in because I think this was one of my greatest contributions to Sandy Vans was that I was able to contact the guy who had bought the name, reached out to him, got him on the phone, found out he was a pretty nice guy. And he's like, oh yeah, I thought about doing it with something. I got a van. And I was like, listen, we want to start a company with this name. Like, we're in San Diego. And I was like, would you consider selling it? And I was like, listen, like, we're just a bunch of friends who started a company. Like, we don't have any big amount of money to pay you, but like, maybe we could pay you like $300 or something like that, or we could trade you for products. And then, we ended up trading him. And Evan, maybe you could take it from here, because I think you actually facilitated that trade.
Yeah, we met him a couple times, but
we've done a number of work, a decent amount of work on his van. So we ended up installing some products and doing like I've said, the first ever wall panel kit and some fabric wrapping. And he's like, he just is a guy with a van. And he's like he was naming his own van Sandy. So he's like, SandyVans.com, and then we're like, wait a minute, we're going to build this company. And funny enough, it worked out. So shout out. Thanks, Connor, to finding this guy. And then, the one kit that we sold was in exchange for the domain.
I'll tell you, I think that the reason we made the pivot on that is we started to see the opportunity in doing the full van builds. And so we wanted to really lean into that. I think that was something we saw the opportunity in leveraging having things pre-engineered and pre-designed. We could deliver a van in a much, much shorter period of time of what you saw most of the competitors doing. So at that time, and even now, what you mostly see is you either got your Winnebagos and your RV companies that are just cranking vans out super, super quickly. But the vans have no soul. They have no character. They don't have punny names. And there's just so much plastic, and they're not built very well. And then you have the other end of the spectrum where you have these beautiful boutique vans that are being built, and they're gorgeous works of art, but these builders are building 3-4 vans a year. And so you had this gap in the market where you could build something that had that character, had that personal touch. You could build a custom van for somebody, but do it in a short time period and get to where we're turning these around in a 4 to 6 week time frame as opposed to a 4 to 6 month time frame. We were able to do that with pre-engineering these kits that we'd use internally and having the bones of the build be identical throughout the various builds. And then we could put the last 10% is where we did that custom element. And we worked with the customer to pick their laminates, to do a custom wild ceiling design, do some crazy epoxy countertops, and still give them that custom fit, feel, and finish, but do it in a reasonable time frame to get more people out on the road. So that is the opportunity that we saw, and that's why we made that shift into actually doing the full van builds as opposed to doing the kits. So we still made the kits. It was just for ourselves.
We'll have the editor throw in some shots of the interior so people watching
yeah,
can see.
Yeah, get some B-roll in there.
I think one of the things that you guys did really well, in addition to that, is I think that most van builders were building these super rugged, super masculine, super industrial vehicles. And there wasn't a lot of people building a van that was kind of like comfortable and had a real interior design aesthetic. And I wouldn't say that our vans are like feminine. They're pretty neutral, but it is like a very, I don't know, aesthetic interior design that I think appeals to, people that don't just want to do like super hardcore mountain biking and that's it. And I think you guys occupied a niche in the space really well that no one was really doing in a super effective way.
Yeah, I think, a lot of the industry is building, it's guys building for guys, and guys don't really care as much about, an aesthetic that's like, hey, I want a really nice garage on wheels to put all my gear in and to have the comforts at home and then to get out and ride or, do what they're going to do, which I think there's plenty of that out there, and many of the companies focus on that. And obviously that works, right? So we came in with a different twist saying, okay, let's get a little bit more of that luxury aesthetic, that boutique, ambiance of a, nice hotel room or Airbnb feel in the van. Once you're in it, you feel like you have the amenities at home and you have that warm feeling. But then still, as our vans have evolved over time too, it's like now you have separation of, okay, your gear goes back here and it does feel like a garage in the back. But then when you're in the front, you have these different unique lighting features, all dimmable, and you have your nice, rug and hot water and all the things you need with a nice feeling of home on the go. So yeah, I think that blending the two worlds is something we really focused on with the fit, form, and finish.
Yeah, we always say luxury meets adventure is what we were trying to bring to the table.
Which I think ties in super well with the glamping space and, what we talk about on this podcast all the time, which is like, hey, you want to go be in nature, you want to go have fun, but you don't, you want to get a good night's sleep and you still want to take a hot shower or, be able to use the restroom in the middle of the night when it's dark. And I think, you guys have done that very well. Alan, maybe you could talk with us a little bit more, all things marketing and advertising. What was the strategy, when you first started? Imagine it was throwing a lot of different things against the wall. And, what did you find that worked? Basically what were you like, hey, we're going to spend more money in these areas and we're going to defund these other areas that aren't working?
Yeah, at the first, any entrepreneur will say you got to get scrappy, right? And just do more. So doing as much as we can, like you say, throwing things at the wall, seeing what sticks. The big thing that we, we're building vans to sell. So we didn't have the customers lined up. So we're building a van as what we thought, the market wanted, and testing price points and putting it out there. and going to the expos. So getting out in front of people, having people walk through our vehicles, being the ones, the owners out there talking to the customers, trying to listen, understand, get feedback, and really just putting ourselves in the customer's shoes, right? So knowing that this is what we wanted to do, and hoping there's more people like us that wanted to live this experience and have this type of product to do it. And then taking that feedback at every one of the shows. So, I mean, that's been a core of our marketing presence since day one. Since we went to the show with Jackie Van and Tiny Fest here in San Diego as our first show, and the Snowball the next year going to 10 shows, and then last year we did 25 different expos across the country, GoPro Mountain Games in Vail, and Barrett Jackson show at San Diego Auto Show, all the way up into the Overland Show in Oregon up near you, and Bend. And so it's just being out there, talking to customers, getting that feedback has been a core. And then pairing that with online presence. And we knew from the get-go that we're entering a world where everyone is on social media, Instagram, and this is a great product to be visually appealing on those platforms. And so making sure that we had the right content that's being released weekly as much as possible, getting others that are adventure minded, outdoor enthusiasts in our vans in exchange for content. That is another thing that we've worked diligently on, making sure that we are constantly, content is king. We're constantly getting more content, having more options for more content. Doing as much as possible, and trying to keep it as scrappy as possible when you're a small growing business.
Hello, listeners. This is Sherry Halala, founder of Sage Outdoor Advisory. If you're launching an outdoor hospitality project like glamping, we can help. We offer feasibility studies and appraisals. What that means is we look at your specific market and proposed business offering and complete an in-depth analysis to make sure that your planned business will be profitable. Getting a second opinion on your proposal and forecasted financials is critical to understand before you spend years of your time and hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is particularly important if you are looking to raise money for your project from a bank or private investors. They are going to want to see this type of deep dive analysis from an independent third-party specialist in the industry. We at Sage have completed well over 250 feasibility studies and appraisals in outdoor hospitality in North America in the last 4 years. So we understand what it takes to bring a project from concept to reality. If this sounds like it could be helpful to you, you can go to our website, sageoutdooradvisory.com, and schedule a call with our team. While you're there, check out our proprietary glamping database map too. Thanks. Now back to the show.
I think I had a question in the lineup for scariest moments, and I think I might know one of yours, and it's when you thought we lost our Google Drive with all the content in it.
My God.
Maybe you could tell us about that, and if any companies need a cautionary tale about making sure they have a backup drive.
Yeah, when you're a small business, we still are running our whole business off Google Drive, right? But it's you're working with different partners and trying to figure out who is going to be these first hires, and a lot of things are being outsourced at first. And, one of the marketing partners, it's all about, just meeting people and finding different people that believe in your story and your journey and want to help out or connect you with the right people. And so we had a marketing partner that, helped us develop a lot of the original content and the original website. They had, we'd since moved on, and they had moved on with their own life or their own business.
He was the one that set our Google Drive up for us, right?
Correct. Yeah. So they had ownership of the drive, of that marketing folder, and that business was no longer. So that business had got bought by another business, and there was no one managing it. And we didn't really realize it was all under their account being paid, and they stopped payment. And all of a sudden, it's all gone one day, and our whole marketing drive is just empty. And I'm like, oh no! And it was almost 2 years in, a year and a half in. So it was not a moment where you could think about starting over. So it was a scramble. I'm like, Connor, did you set this up? It was a hair on fire type of day, but got it sorted. Yeah.
And there's just so much work that goes into that content folder. It's kind of hard to describe, and it's like half the sales funnel. It's half the sales force of our business, right? Is those pictures and those videos and the ways that we get leads and people in the door. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about when I'm talking about the Sandy Vans marketing team, I'm always like, hey, I have the chance to sit in on the Sandy Vans Wednesday marketing thing, and it's like a team of 8 or 9 specialists, and it's a whole group of people. And maybe you could just talk about the team, the strategy, how that works.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been fun. Growing that division, over the years. And it all started with, just kind of, so it's a lot to do and trying to do as much as possible on your own, and making sure there's listings in different areas, and making sure the vans are in the right spot and the right shows. And then, not only, creating content, but putting it in the right areas, and then having, ads and all the different things. So, at this point today's Wednesday, we had our filmer in today. So he's here every Wednesday. We have a marketing manager who kind of ties it all together. We got a Google Analytics specialist, making sure that, our listings, our business is two-pronged for the most part. We have the vans itself, and then all the products that Evan was mentioning. So we've over 155 SKUs on the website. And so it's just a matter of making sure those are all approved through Google, tracking all the metrics onto our website, where all that traffic is coming from. Then we have an ads manager, from there, an SEO specialist, and then all the different business units of products, the Solid Woodworks product line, which we still have to talk about, and then the sales rep that's here daily on the shop floor, taking all those inbound leads and working to turn them into van builds. So it's a large team that is mainly started out as contractors, right? Taking those specialists and that are focused on doing this one niche for many different clients. And so, their time being super pointed and efficient with regards to Sandy Vans. And then, that being, growing over the years. But now we've started a Sandy Vans YouTube channel, or a TV show called Sandy Vans TV. That was a big initiative this year. So many of our customer base is, living and breathing and watching all these tours on YouTube to understand about the products in the vans more, because this is, one of the most expensive purchases they're going to make in their life. Anyone would. It's $150,000 to $200,000 plus van. So they're looking at all the different research and product options there are, and we want to make sure that we have enough out there to have brand recognition and make sure that people are understanding the journey of what it's like to buy a Sandy van. So that's been a big push this year, is Sandy Vans TV, which recently got picked up by DirecTV and is now on channel 4366, which is an RV channel on DirecTV, which has been really exciting. So all thanks to that marketing group's effort.
It's actually a bit of a funny story on how that kicked off too. What got us going down the path on Sandy Vans TV.
Yep.
We had, it was maybe a year ago, that we had someone approach us. One of our customers works in the TV world. She's a producer. And she said, hey, I think that there's a fantastic TV show here in what it is that you guys do. Think Pimp My Ride, but van edition. And so she brought a whole team. She said, would you guys be willing to film a sizzle? There's like a pre-pilot for this. We said, heck yeah, let's do it. And so she comes in, brings a whole film crew in. They've got the lights and the camera, multiple camera angles, and it was a wild production. And they shot everything, and then crickets, just absolutely nothing.
Heard from
never saw anything from it.
Yeah.
Nothing. And I think that they just ended up pursuing other projects. And so it was coming into this year, we're starting to game plan how we want to focus our marketing efforts this year. And it kind of circled back to that and said, hey, I think there's something there. Like we want to give our customers the opportunity to get to know what it is we do here better, to get to know the personalities within the company better. And also the sales journey is such a long process. This isn't something that somebody just decides on a Tuesday when they want to buy in a van and Wednesday they are picking it up. Most of these people are researching this for years. So here's an opportunity for us to get that connection with that customer and have that extend over multiple years. So we said, hey, you know what? All right. Didn't work out to end up doing it with this producer and this actual production company. What if we end up taking this on ourselves? And we had another one of our customers who had actually had a similar idea. I'll let you take it over from there because they reached out to you.
is actually the owner of Morgan Free Band. So one of the original band owners.
Yes.
Yeah, and he came back around the shop, and I was playing golf with him and talking to him about the business. And he goes, "Hey, you guys would make really great TV. Like, I got a friend who does work with Jay Leno. He does some TV shows that are on, like, automotive TV shows." And I'll introduce you. And so he's actually in San Diego and a director, and done this really great work in this industry. And he saw Sandy Mans, took the tour around. He's like, "Yeah, you guys got something here. Let's film an initial pilot and see where we can go with it." And so that started, to kick off the year. And we've got 3 episodes that are on our YouTube now, or on DirecTV. And then 4 and 5 have already been filmed and going through editing. So season 1 is underway, and it's been a ton of fun. And I think, it gives an opportunity for customers and just, fans of the brand to kind of stay involved and check out what Sandy Vans is up to.
I know it's, go ahead, Ev.
I would say, but man, is it a challenge to run a production facility and also try to film at the same time. Neither one of them play that nicely together. So it's definitely been a challenge to make sure we're maintaining pace and everything with the production and actually running a business, not a TV show. And then running a production is so involved in and of itself. And so trying to merge the two has been a really challenge.
Yeah, a lot
really
of late
big
nights.
challenge.
Like right now we're filming, this after business hours, because during the day there's 20 people buzzing around here and a CNC running, and there are lots of loud noises. So Seth is, he has an ear for, if he hears a car drive by outside, he can hear it. So when he gets here, he's just like looking around. He's like, quiet on set. Can you guys shut that down? Please stop. And it's comical because Brian, our other business partner, he loves it. He's just like, oh, Seth his head's gonna explode.
Man, that's so. I know it's really early, so you're really not going to know how SVTV's really been performing from like an ROI standpoint. But any like early indications of if it's been getting leads and if it's been working? I know the first episode dropped like 2 months ago.
Yeah, I think 3 months. Yeah. But there's been a number of customers that are coming through the sales process, working with Tanner, our sales manager now, on going through a build consultation, and then they come in person and get a chance. And Evan or myself are walking in, or we meet the potential customer as well, and be like, "Oh yeah, I feel like I know you, seen you on YouTube." So they're going through and they're watching the content because they're involved with the company and Tanner and the build consultation and the build process. So I think it is a great pairing. Like, I don't know if leads are coming directly from the shows yet, but they're starting to get some traction. The first episode has just hit over 100,000 views. So we are seeing some major traction from the shows, as well as the Concrete Oasis. I know has a ton of content out on YouTube, but this is unique and kind of a different spin on it. And we have seen some more conversations get started for the build slots of the Concrete Oasis due to the episodes, because the episode 2 and 3 are on kind of that product line and that partnership with Ed and Nicole, which was a really special, just relationship with them, as well as that product is just unmatched.
Yeah, it's interesting. I always try to encourage people to think of their marketing and advertising and really in terms of investments and when are you just spending dollars and when are you investing in something that will, live on and have reoccurring views. And I think long form YouTube content is a really good way, that those videos that you're investing time and money in now are going to, live on YouTube and be seen forever, right? It's an asset of the business. And what we've seen from bringing a lot of really high profile guests on this show is that people really want to see and connect with the humans behind these businesses. And, when we think of, Isaac French and Ben Wolf and, Tori and Seth Bull, the Bullet Farm Treehouse, the people that get over 100,000, 500,000 followers, you can see they lean way into filming themselves talking. Like, it's a human, it's a story, it's an experience, it's a person, there's emotion. And so I know it's a little early in the journey, but I think you guys are going to really kill it with this SVTV stuff. So I'm excited to see it. And we did just do a an episode. We just shot an episode cycling down the Oregon coast. I got to sneak in for 2 days of that, which was a ton of fun. So, stay tuned. Go check out the Sandy Vans YouTube video if you want to see Evan and Alan and I in really tight biking shorts. It's quite a sight.
Spandex. Yeah.
That was a fun one to do. And we had a little competition amongst all of us. So, when we launch that, go out and vote for Connor and I's team as the victors.
Yes.
We won.
Yeah. Evan and I came in with no road biking experience, but yeah, you'll just have to watch the episode to know who wins the competition.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Alan, what do you think from a marketing and advertising perspective has been maybe the most high ROI that you're like, I don't know where our sales funnel or like our business would be if we didn't invest in this thing, whether it's SEO or organic socials or, long form YouTube content or influencer partnerships, like what do you think it is?
Yeah, it's not one thing. The toughest thing about marketing is you never know what's going to take you to that next level or why those eyes are going to hit. It's not a perfect science, and that's where doing more and spreading and spreading yourself honestly, more and more thin because you're trying so much. Like we went to SEMA. We did a write up in Motor Trend. We did all of these things SEO wise, backlinks on all these different publications. And just building our domain now being one of, our domain being over 30, which is equal with all the top companies in, van companies in the space. For a relatively newer oncoming company, 3.5 years, it's been such a journey to be able to accomplish that. And it does take, all the blog creation, continuously updating the website, continuously seeing what, we can tweak on the website, adding new products and making sure, blog, YouTube, and all different content like works together to be able to bring customers that are searching the internet. Realistically, we're trying to get people searching on YouTube or YouTube and Google onto Sandy Vans, right? And what are they looking for and making sure our content, copy, and visuals are fitting, matching with the customer needs is basically it. But yeah, there's not one silver bullet, that's for sure. It's quite complex and it's different every month, really. Yeah.
Which is interesting because I know some businesses just fine. We have this one thing. This is where our leads come from, and it just works. And I don't think we haven't found that one thing. It really is a combination effort of so many different ones. And I think some of that comes down to this being such a long customer journey. Like I mentioned earlier, this is something that so many of our customers, we'll meet them at a show. 2 years later, they're coming in the door and buying a van from us. And so it makes it tough to track. And also you need to have those multiple touch points. Because I can't tell you how many people I talk to at a show and they say, hey, this is my retirement plan. When I retire in 3 years, when my kids go off to college, this is what I'm doing. And so they start thinking about this and think about it for so long and research it for so long. You want to make sure that they're seeing your billboard up as they're driving to work and whatever it is. And yeah, we ended up, we had a billboard. I guess I just took that down, huh?
Yeah, it's actually here. We're going to put it up now next. It was like a large vinyl. We got to keep it. So it'll be up in our, in the shop, parking lot here soon. But that was a really cool moment. We got to, see, over the Pacific in San Diego, sunset, which was actually this photo was the billboard. Sandy Vans was kind of like a moment we got to sit back and be like, oh, wow, we have a company that has a billboard. It's pretty cool.
That was a very cool moment.
Yeah. I think, going back, it's like we have 3 core values here at Sandy Vans. We take pride in our work. We try and innovate as much as possible with, Evan's engineering experience for the industry of how we build things, how we bring things to market. And then we have customer obsession. We're trying to really understand who our customer is and, be friends with them. Make sure that they're like fans of the brand. And here's an example. Like one is one of the first ever. Do you remember the first ever show we did, Connor? It happened to be in La Ventana, Mexico.
Yeah.
You set that one up.
You set it up. We had vans and champagne. We brought the van into Playa Central, which is a little kiteboarding shop in La Ventana, small little town, Mexico. And honestly, there was like 50 people that showed up and walked through the van. And one of the guys there, he was a yacht captain, and he happened to be like cruising through. It was his couple days off, and he was back here yesterday, 3.5 years later, and just bought his first product from us. He's been following us the entire time. We stayed at his house in Vail last year at GoPro Mountain Games. So that's where we're just trying to be, be relatable, be human, like you said, and be fans of our customers and have our customers be obsessed with our brand. And that is, I think, the biggest lead to our success is saying, hey, we're the company, we're the people behind the company. And, when we want to help you achieve what, he was here with his son. They're going camping this weekend up in Big Bear, and they needed some products in their Bronco to help achieve, their goals of being off grid and overlanding. And that's what, Sandy Vans and this company is all about.
And I think that's been one of our biggest emphasis in the business, one of our biggest strengths and successes. And we get this all the time where people touch base with us and they're like, wow, they call us up and say, hey, you can actually get a human on the phone with Sandy Vans. And that's something we're going to make. We've got 3 people that are always attending to those phones. So you're always going to be able to contact somebody. Once you've bought a van from us, if you have issues in warranty, you've got Alan's personal cell phone number. You've got my personal cell phone number. So you're able to get directly in contact with us. And people are reaching out to us at wee hours of the night, but we're going to do whatever we can to make sure we get you sorted out, get you back on the road. If there's, I can't tell you the number of FaceTimes I've been on with customers to walk them through. Well, you got to press and hold that power button. You can't just tap it once or whatever it is. But I cannot think of many other businesses in our industry that you get that kind of connection to the business and that kind of customer support. And that's been our biggest emphasis and something that we want to make sure we maintain as the business grows and scales.
I still am connected to the the Google Business account. So every time a customer leaves a review on the Google Business account, I get a little chime, and it's just been going off lately. So I think you guys, whatever you're doing is working, because I think it's 4.9 stars out of like 130 reviews now, which is amazing. So I think the dedication and customer obsession is really shining through. And I remember sitting in on one of your guys' Wednesday meetings for the marketing and advertising, and we were talking about SEO, and we had basically, and this was a year ago, so we were 2.5 months into the business, and our SEO person was like, yeah, we're now ranking number 3rd when someone types luxury adventure sprinter van. And I was like, wow. We're number 3rd on Google. There's companies that have been in there for 10 years that are doing $50 million in van and product sales, and we're ranking ahead of them because of like this team and what they've been doing. And I actually just Googled it just now. I just Googled luxury adventure sprinter vans, and guess who's number 1? It's Sandy Vans. So whatever you guys are doing is working. It's probably a good time to chat about Nectar Media. Do you guys want to chat at all about that?
Yeah, definitely. That one kind of came about. You talked earlier a little bit about the team that we had assembled, and kind of having the realization that we've built this rock star team of marketers. I said, hey, they've done so much to grow our business and our brand and grow us to where we are today. What are the opportunities of having these people, instead of being individual contractors, actually put them under one umbrella? They're already acting as a team for our business, but what if they acted as a team for other businesses as well? And I'll let you take it away from here.
Yeah, it's been fun building out this team, and why it all started is because of the content we were originally putting out, and because we were brand focused from the get-go and worked with Jackson to create such a incredible brand image and brand video. That was our original content that we put out. That got eyes on individuals who were young, hungry, looking for this type of work. And our content creator, our filmer, who is incredible and has been here for 3 years now. He started when he was 18, just out of high school. And he's like, this is what I want to do. I've been behind a camera since I, could hold a camera. And he's incredible. He's all time. And our marketing manager, same with her. She had done some work in real estate, but they got attracted to that original content and basically, this lifestyle and what we were putting out, and now have, been here developing this brand for the last 3 years, as well as, just kind of like working within that niche and seeing how great, how we've been impactful in those meetings with that team. So wanting to recreate this because they were working for, they have been, all these individuals have been contractors working, on different projects as well. So having us all under one house, starting a company called Nectar Media, looking to launch in the next couple of months here, have our first couple, clients. Also, obviously, Sandy Van's going to continue being done the marketing from Nectar. And it'll be kind of housed remotely as well as out of this facility. So more content will be coming from Nectar in the coming months on the official launch. But we will be working and focusing on the overlanding, glamping and outdoor industry and sector as a whole.
Yeah, and I think it's honestly a perfect product for, I think, 80 to 90% of the things that work in the luxury adventure sprinter van space will work in the glamping space from a content and media perspective. So if any glamping operators are interested in getting in touch with you guys to learn more about your media services, what's the best way for them to reach out or contact you?
Yeah, Nectar Media on Instagram just launched, but Sabrina, she's the manager, and so it'll be Sabrina at nectarmedia.com, and that's NKTR Media. So there's more, but it's you gotta squeeze it out to get more of the story behind Nectar Media, and that'll have to be in the next podcast.
Yeah, the next episode. Yeah, if you want to check out Sandy Van stuff, you can just go check out their Instagram. It's just really beautiful, high quality content. What's Evan, what'd you guys do? What was your last month of product sales?
I think it's been now with Solid Woodworks. I guess that's another thing we need to touch into is we ended up acquiring a business through that does slide out drawer systems for Forerunners, Tacomas. And then we've started expanding that product. Yeah, maybe you can. We've got one sitting on the wall right next to us.
Solid Woodworks.
But it's a camping solution for SUVs essentially. So it's a phenomenal leader product that so many people. I started myself in the back of my truck. So many people start out in Forerunners trucks and eventually move into the van space. So it's awesome to be able to capture the customers at that early stage on that overlanding journey.
I mean, this goes back to your original idea, really. I mean, Brian, our business partner, he started Solid Woodworks 6 years ago, and he worked in his wood shop up in Huntington. But it's literally a flat pack kit for any of these SUVs to build out a camping solution, sleep, store, explore. It goes as a kit to someone's driveway, and all they need is a screw gun impact to just put this together, IKEA style, and then put it into the back of their vehicle, which, it's kind of full circle because that's exactly what Evan had for ideas for, obviously, on the vans years ago. So it's made such a great pair, and having that under one roof with the CNC building that product, as well as the same CNC is building all the cabinetry designed by Evan for, the vans itself. It's just been such a great pairing for the product line of the business.
And you actually have one in the back of your Forerunner, don't you?
I was literally about to say, I got one and I use it all the time. It's freaking amazing. Best purchase I ever made.
Coming back to the question, to the question that you answered. So all of that's going through Sandy Vans now. So our product sales average about $150,000 a month right now.
Yeah, which is, I know, on quite a trajectory of growth right now from some of the board meetings, which I think $150,000 a month in any products business is phenomenal and growing. So, the marketing and advertising team is incredible. So reach out if you're interested. Shifting gears a little bit, what was maybe the scariest moment at Sandy Vans where you thought the wheels might fall off?
There's been a couple of those, but my scariest one was going to be right when we moved into this facility that we're in. It was a big stretch, a big leap, going from paying, what was it, $4,000 a month, 45? $4,000 a month in rent to $25,000 a month in rent. Huge step up. We had to put $75,000 down to get into the facility. So first month's rent, last month's rent, security deposit. And that was basically all the cash we had. We had actually had to take out some loans to even be able to get that cash together. We moved into the facility, and Didn't have a ton of builds lined up at the time, so we had a couple. Move into the facility, and then the company that was here before us was a race shop that had gone bankrupt. They went out of business and just left everything in the shop. So we're excited to move into this brand new facility that we just paid $75,000 to get the keys to. And we come in day one and the floor is just covered in oil. There are racks of just car parts and junk all over the place. There's a rolling chassis of a Porsche Boxster in the back. And
engines broken down. There was 7 lifts hoists in here. I had a customer coming that day to drop off their van. So I mean, we were full scrambling. We had just gotten back from SEMA. It was a scary situation. We made the best of it. We actually, thank goodness, we have the best friends. We had every friend we knew come show up, and we moved everything out of the shop floor that day. And we had a customer in the next day. And we just made it work. Honestly, it was like Evan said, like this was such a huge leap for us to go, because we were riding this wave, this momentum that had continued to help us propel this business that we were, the original 140, but we were bootstrapping from there. It was all like organic sales, growing the business and being scrappy, working, all day, every day, living and breathing Sandy vans, and saying, okay, this is the natural progression for this company. If we want to continue to grow it, we need the space and we need to be in the right location. And this was it. This is an amazing place and facility. But it was definitely a reach to try and, take this leap.
And we not only had that, so once we got things moved in, we had all of our friends come help clean out the space, get this van in for this customer, this one customer that we have. We're building their van and helping get some cash back in the bank. And then all of a sudden the bank comes and says, whoa, hold on. We own everything in here. You guys can't move in. And so we started moving all of the things from our old shop that now we have to get out of. We've moved it into this new shop that we just spent a whole week cleaning out, had all our friends come, and now we're getting kicked out by the bank because they own everything that's here, and they from the company that previously had been here and had gone bankrupt. And I said, well, we have a customer van in here we have to build. We don't have a facility we can build it over here. What are we supposed to do? And it came down to where our only choice was to just buy everything that had been left here, all of this junk. And there's some great stuff too. But again, we had spent all of the money we had on getting in the door. The bank is coming and telling us we can't access the facility. We need to get out. We've already started moving out. We have to be out in 2 weeks out of our old facility. We have a customer's van that we need to build. So we ended up just settling with the bank. We bought everything that was under the roof with money we didn't have. It was $55,000 to buy all of that. And so we had to dip into a business line of credit to come up with the cash to do that. So now we're taking on even more risk in this space. And then had to buy all this stuff that we had to figure out what to do with. But that's what allowed us to be able to operate in the facility, to make the move that we needed to have, to be able to deliver this van for a customer that we had deadlines. And it all worked out. We had
and right at this time, you know what my idea was? All right, so we're going to throw a grand opening. So we literally had November 1st was our first day, and we ran into this debacle. And then I was like, all right, we need to get this place cleaned up and ready for operation. Like, there's only one way to do it. We got to throw a party. So we had this party December 14th. And so we honestly, we lived here for 30 days. And it was like nonstop trying to, navigate this whole very complex problem with our new landlord, the bankruptcy attorney from the old company, and the auction company who was meant to be selling it all and buying. It was wild because you couldn't just originally we lump sum purchased it, but you couldn't do that because you had to go through the right process, which basically said we couldn't actually move anything until a month, which happened to be December 10th, 4 days before the party. So I had everything. I became, my job for that month was, one, of course, sell vans. Two, sell the $55,000 worth of products, hoists, lifts, engines, all these different, become an expert in Porsche parts. And we ended up selling it all for, above the 55. So we made our money back, and it all moved out literally the day that we were cleared to move it, which was the 10th. Had an amazing party where 300 people showed up, and we did an awesome grand opening to unveil Sandy Van's new shop. It all worked out, but there were a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in that month. That's for sure.
Yeah. So that was definitely my scariest moment. It was like watching us throw all of our cash into this big unknown and then not knowing if we were going to be able to operate. It was a wild month, but
Yeah.
one of the most fun we've had too.
Yeah. There's so many scary moments, and that's, the roller coaster of entrepreneurship and being a business owner. You never know what's around that next bend. And honestly, you think the bigger you get, I read, the more stats you read, the more scared you get, right? Not many businesses make it past the 5-year mark. Not many businesses make it past the $1 million mark. Not many, it's like, it's very difficult. And my thought always was, okay, the bigger you are, the more established, and obviously the more secure and stable a business is. And to be honest, in some businesses that's true, but our business has tons of inventory. We went through today and walked around the shop and realized how much inventory is on our balance sheet. And it's just it's constant challenges, as well as the expenses don't ever go away. So the bigger you get, that payroll expense and the $25,000 rent, those ones don't go away. But sales, you got to continue to fight for. So it's the scariest moment is always waiting for you around the bend, keeps you on your toes, and also keeps you alive. That's part of being an entrepreneur and a business owner. So there's been many, and I'm sure there'll be many more, but it's a ride that's worth it. When you're having great customers and really awesome employees, and the team here at Sandy Vans, it inspires me, it inspires, our customers, and really creates amazing products. So it's worth it, but yeah, it keeps you up at night some nights. So
that's certainly a frightening moment. I remember when you guys were going through the van space move with everything going on, and I just felt for you. My heart ached for how much work that you guys were doing at that moment in time, and it was scary. Yeah, I remember when you guys came to us and were like, "Hey, we found this incredible facility. It's kind of the dream facility in Miramar. It's going to take all of our cash, basically, but it's going to be awesome." And yeah, it's that super scary moment where, entrepreneurs, you take big bets, big risks. And I think like it paid off huge. I remember when you guys came to us to raise the money originally, you guys had a photo in the presentation of the Dream Factory. I think it was Rob Deirdrick's Dream Factory. And I think what you have behind you.
Shop. Yeah.
And what you guys have now behind you, I would say, is, the Sandy Vans Dream Factory, where you guys can, build, fabricate, create anything that you could imagine, and a place that like brings people in to make their wildest dreams come true. So it's quite a special thing that you guys have been able to create with no lack of blood, sweat, tears, and sleepless nights, I'm sure.
Yeah. Every once in a while, we still have a party. You can see right here. There is a giant disco ball in the shop. Just to keep it fun around here.
Where do you see Sandy Vans 3 to 5 years from now? What's the vision for the future?
It's a great question. Yeah, it's one we gotta just get on the same page and discuss. It's funny asking this, and I think we need to have some more discussion, and so there's alignment. So much of the business, it's so easy to get sucked into the day to day, and we try to have that line of sight and make sure that we have that direction that we're striving towards. But it's been a little challenging lately, because so much of that direction we wanted to get to and where we're striving to is to max out this facility. Like, since the day we moved into it, we said, we got a 5-year lease here, we're locked in. How do we maximize the production that we could do here? And we are getting to the point where we're bursting at the seams. And so that now opens the door for us having that next line of sight of, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? But I think that, it's just we've been working towards this goal, and we're getting really, really close to that goal at this point. So we need to have that next alignment. And I had a new employee that I had an interview with a couple weeks ago. And at the end of the interview, I was like, "You got any questions for me?" And he asked a great question. And it's one I want to ask both of you guys. He said, in 5 years from now, what decision do you want to look back on and hope that you made this year? And I sat and reflected on that. And he was asking in terms of the business. And my answer to that question, and it also answers yours a little bit, it was to take that next leap and that next step. And what I mean by that is, we took this massive step to be able to move into this facility, and it was terrifying at the time. But when we look at it, it's like, man, it worked out. it's everything that the business needed to grow to that next point. And now we're getting really close to where there's the next bigger step that we need to take. And guess what? This one is far scarier than that last one was. It's far bigger and comes with more risks. But the thing that I want to be able to look back on 5 years from now, and the decision I hope that I make this year, is to be able to take that next step and that it works out.
Yeah. Each time it's that appetite for risk, shifts, and that's what I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast. Is it's interesting. That's the difficulty when I talk to mentors and other entrepreneurs and business owners, is that partnerships have different paths or partners within business. And there's always these decision points where people might be on different paths within their appetite for risk. And I find that, fluctuating within myself, sometimes daily. No, but it does, when the business is going well and we're on an upswing and things are firing on all cylinders, it's easy to say yes. It's easy to take on more risk, and it's easy to feel like we're gonna, go around the bend and be able to face whatever comes up. But when you're going through the lows, it's like, man, oof. A remote job that pays six figures and lets me surf every day sounds pretty good right now. So, it takes a certain person and a certain amount of willpower to really move forward with each of these risks. And I agree. It's one of those, hey, you have a cup and we're trying to fill it up. And as you start to see it fill, it's like, okay, are we ready to go for the next size, the next amount of scale that it takes to really grow a business to become a household name and a national brand. And I think there's different ways that we're looking at right now of how the business can focus on these different segments and spending more time looking at each business unit and what's working well, what's not, and knowing that we're betting on the right horse, and we're trying to look into that crystal ball as much as we can, because there's a lot of unknowns, and in the end, this is a really, really cool toy that people want to have, but there's other factors involved in the industry as a whole, and we got to be wary of that and making sure that we're doing the best we can within the industry, right? So man, I don't know. Those are some good questions, and you got us thinking, and this is great because these aren't things we're doing on a daily basis because we're fighting the daily battles and taking care of the fires that need to be put out, but. These are the big things that are fun to talk about and dream about.
Any advice you'd have for entrepreneurs in the trenches? Maybe it's something that you'd tell yourself, and if you're in your first 2 years of just in the trenches and trying to get the business, profitable, and if you were going to give advice to other folks out there, what might that be?
I think for me, the biggest thing is finding the right people to do it with. Some people are able to go on the solo entrepreneur journey, but for the most part, you're not going to do it alone. You're going to be finding other people, and whether that's through people that you employ or through business partners. But I think that the thing that's been the most important for me is having somebody by my side going through, feeling the exact same stressors, and being able to do this all with friends has been really incredible. But so much of it, honestly, has been you, Alan. Is there's times that the business gets stressful, but it always feels like we're able to find a bit of balance between one another. When one of us is having a low, the other one could be there to lift you up. And there's been so many lows I've had where Alan's just been able to be my rock and support me, and I hope that I'm able to do that for you. And I couldn't imagine doing this journey without that. That has been the only way that I've been able to continue at this for as long as we have. So that would be my biggest advice: is find that person or those people that can be by your side doing it together, and help support you through it all, because it's not easy.
Yeah, you can see by the emotion. It's tough. It's going to battle every day, and if you're doing it alone, there's so many times you're like, oh man, throwing in the towel. What does that path look like? And you're kind of like, wait a minute. Am I sure the juice is worth the squeeze? Is this a battle I want to continue taking? Because it's going to take different impact on, your personal health, your relationships, just how much how much time you get to sleep at night. It's a hard path to choose. So I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I mean, relying on having good people around you in general, like relying on your network, asking for help. I think that's been impactful for Sandy Vans is having such a great like support system in general, like within the business. 100%, I agree with everything Evan said, and that's we both had to check out at times and be like, all right, your turn to man the ship.
You watch the kid.
Yeah. And so that is huge. And I think that's why I believe so much in partnerships. And I'm in these different entrepreneurship like groups now or mentorship groups and hear like the other ends of it and people not believing because they've gone through partnerships and has seen maybe what happens on the other side or could happen. But yeah, I'm a huge believer in that. So an advocate. So completely agree with what Ev's saying. But then if you are a solo entrepreneur or you're starting something and you're within those first 2 years and you're hitting all these roadblocks and it's honestly like you don't know how much support. You got to have this, delusional optimism yourself for sure, and just keep it going and just fake it till you make it. And hey, we're moving into this giant shop and we don't have a line of, vans ready to be built, but we know build it and they will come. We know that once we're here, it's all going to work out. We know that we don't know, but you got to believe that So that optimism, and that has to come. That's part of being an entrepreneur. If you're not an optimist, then, you should you should get a job. So it's just like having optimism, and then it's, leaning on your network, honestly, reaching out, not being afraid to knock on doors, ask for support, ask for help. The different questions and conversations I've had, and it's led to, new banking relationships, new customers, Sandy Vans TV director, you never know, these different worlds can collide and start to help you in different unique ways. So I know, Connor, you're really good at that. You stay in touch with people so well. You're so well connected. You really value relationship. And so I think that goes a long way when you're an entrepreneur struggling and you need some help from your circle. Lean on them and ask for it. And so I would say, that would be a number one when it's comes to advice and going through the trenches. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's and just having transparency with that. I think that's something that a lot of businesses. I mean, we in this podcast we've talked a lot about our financial numbers. And just being willing to be open about that stuff. The more open you are with people, the more open they'll be with you, more vulnerable they'll be with you. And then the more they'll be able to understand your needs, your hurts, and be able to step in and help out where they can. I come from a product design background, and there's so many people that I've got this $1 million product idea, but I won't tell you anything about it. You got to sign NDAs. You got to go through all this process. And if you have that fear to share with people, you're never going to get in the right circle or in the conversations with the people that can actually help and do something, because those people aren't going to sign NDAs, right? They've got way too many things coming to them. And so just by having full transparency, full openness about whatever it is in your business will lead to much, much more beneficial conversations with things. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. It's not the person who has the idea; it's the person who executes, and you can't do it alone. It takes a village.
Yeah, exactly.
Wise words. All right, last question. What's either your favorite moment that you've had in a Sandy van, or maybe a customer shared something that they did in a van that was just really special or inspiring or crazy?
Oh man.
Oh, I can go first to let you guys think.
Yeah. Okay. Let's hear it.
I always love the video. You guys gave the vans to a bunch of like super high dive cliff jumpers, and they parked a Sandy van on this crazy high bridge, and then they jumped off the wall of the bridge and then kicked the wall of the Sandy vans and did a triple backflip off this huge bridge. And I was like, this is insane. And that was, I just loved that one. It was so unique.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Just high diving off a Sandy van.
Yeah.
And then we immediately messaged him, don't do that again. Please don't dent our van.
Yeah.
But it was really cool. It was a cool shot.
Travis.
I think, I don't know if there's a particular moment in the vans, because there's been so many. I mean, that's what's amazing about the van is the experiences you get from it. But I think the most unexpected one that's come from Sandy Vans as a whole has been who it's connected us with. It's opened a lot of really incredible doors and gotten us in a bunch of other rooms with people that there's no other way that I could ever see myself getting into, because it is a cool product. It's something that that a lot of people are interested in. So we've got to connect with big time influencers and heroes we've had. We've gotten to sell to pop stars. We've gotten to sell to billionaires and actually have conversations with these people, and people like I never could imagine connecting with. And yeah, we've got a pop star we're talking about doing a Baja surf trip to go take the vans down, and she wants to write some music in the van and do some content with it. And it's like to get to go have that experience with her. There's no other way we get in those doors. And so it's been really, really neat where it's put us.
Yeah. Just the access has been really cool. I think this product captures like the imagination of so many people of that dream. It's like, oh, what would you do with this? Like this dream has become, so common. And I remember like that, going back to that Hugh Jack van selling, it was one of those vans we finished, and the next day this guy came and he's like, this is the van, this is my van. And it just was one of those sales or those, customer journeys that was so like serendipitous, and he wanted to, live this nomadic lifestyle. And his first year, he was full-time in at Starlink. He's a project manager and could work anywhere. And he put Starlink, it was early days of Starlink, it was like 3 years ago. And he went to Alaska and back 25,000 miles on the van. And he was sending pictures every month. And there was a moose in front of the van, and there was him on this mountain, in Alaska. And it was just, it was so cool to see this customer just living out their dream, and being so connected to us and the brand. And, we did this, I love to get people together and build community and have events. And we started burning vans. We ran for 3 years in a row out in the desert down here in San Diego. And that customer came to burning vans, and multiple of our customers came to that. And it was, these people, there's some people who flew from all over, and led to a pop star buying one of our vans, and led to all these unique experiences. And it was just our community and seeing all of our vans with customers, have become friends, grow the Sandy Vans community. Just, that's what puts a smile on my face. And every time I do get those texts, sometimes they're, a question about, hey, how does this work again? Or shoot, my van, something broke. And sometimes they're just pictures of, hey, I'm out here with my family and can't thank you enough. This is what brings us, joy to my life and this moment right here. And it has to do with, the van that got them there. And that's special.
Oh, amazing, guys. All right. Actual last question. Evan, what's the name of your van? We haven't got that yet.
Oh, the name of my van?
Yeah.
The latest one, Indiana Jones.
There we go. That hadn't come up yet.
Yeah.
All right, gents. Do you have any asks of the audience? And if people wanted to get in touch with you about vans, about partnership, anything like that, what's the best way?
Well, first of all, if you're in San Diego, come see us. Our doors are open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, and we'd love to give you a tour of the facility, show off our latest show van is named Gordon Vanzy. He'll be here for a tour, as well as Concrete Oasis and the whole shop. So we're here in Miramar, sandyvans.com. Spelt like it sounds. You can call the main line during business hours, 619-812-1903. Get in touch with us. And of course, the YouTube Sandy Vans TV now on our YouTube. And if you type in Sandy Vans, we better be number one there. So you should be able to find us, no problem.
Perfect. All right. Well, this was so much fun and really special for me to get this colliding of worlds, to get to have, my Sandy Vans friends on our Glamping podcast. So thanks, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for making it happen.
Thank you so much for having us, Connor.
Appreciate you, Connor.